Hi, I've been thinking a lot about the Initiative 300, the Right to Survive proposed law that Denverites are going to be voting on in May, and I thought I would share some of my thoughts. I'm not affiliated with any campaign or anything. I'm just some dude who's making a video. And it strikes me that the main thing that we need to think about when we're talking about homelessness isn't gentrification. It isn't mental health. It isn't drug use. It isn't even what our parks look like. The main central issue is poverty itself. See, there's a lot of these patterns that people like to talk about, like drug use and stuff, that may or may not apply. But the one characteristic that almost every homeless person has is that they are extremely poor. And what is a homeless person? A homeless person, quite simply, is a poor person outdoors. See, uh, housing is very expensive, and there's a certain threshold of resources that you need to pay for housing, and if your resources are below that, you're going to be couch surfing or looking for shelters, and if you can't get that, then you're homeless. So it's about poverty. Now, I've got a prop for you. This right here, this is our economy. Poor people are down here, rich people are up here. Most of us are in here. Every economy looks like this. But the glass isn't always this shape. Like in a communist country, it would be shorter and fatter. Or in a feudal economy, it would look like a beaker with a really fat bottom, and then it would taper off. The American economy looks kind of like a champagne flute that's 50 feet tall and it has a big fat part, like a foot or two off the ground. But that's not the point. We'll just use this one. Okay, so we don't like poverty, right? It's not cool that so many people are poor, so let's just do something about it, okay? Mm-hmm. Mm. See, I just took all of the poor people out of the system. What happened? Oh, darn it. We still have people down there. Hmm. Okay, well, let's try something else. All right. Let's talk about upward mobility. Just get a job, right? Just get a job. Okay, well, let's create some social mobility. Everybody's getting redistributed. Everybody's at a different part in the economy, but oh no, somebody fell to the bottom. It just naturally, no matter what you do, somebody falls to the bottom. You question that this is how it really works? Well, let's take an example. Let's say that Taco Bell opens a new store in a community. In order to run that store, they need about 20 people working for about $10 an hour. Now, are they going to hire doctors and lawyers? No, they're not. Are they going to hire college professors? No, they're not going to hire them either, are they? See, in order to find 20 people willing to take that job, there has to be people who are making even less money than minimum wage. That's the only way that Taco Bell can find employees. And if the community doesn't have at least 20 extremely poor people that are willing to take that job, Taco Bell will have to raise its wages, and then it's going to have to raise the price for tacos, and that's going to send a chain reaction up the system, right? Because now the prices for food is changing, and economic pressures are changing for everybody in the system. So um, we can't just get rid of poverty, right? But notice that the glass can go up and down. So the real question isn't whether there's poor people, it's what kind of lifestyle do they have, and are they allowed any freedom? Are they allowed dignity? But wait a minute. There is another way of solving the problem. Let's see here. Ah, this might help. See, a lot of people say that the Right to Survive initiative isn't a solution, and they're right. Actually, it outlaws solutions. See, this is the urban camping ban and other laws that ban public displays of poverty. So we'll just put it right here. Problem solved. Denver doesn't have poor people. Go down the street. Is anybody asking you for money? Do you see any tents in the park? We don't have poor people. No problem, right? See, from the point of view of people who have houses, this is the solution. You know, this reminds me a little bit of a story that maybe you've heard. See, there was a young man, supposedly, named Siddhartha Gautama, who lived in a palace. He was rich, right? He was a prince. And when he was young and growing up, he wasn't allowed to leave the palace because outside the palace there was all this ugliness. So he just lived his life in the palace, swimming in piles of gold or whatever. But then as a teenager, he escaped the palace. He was just rebellious and he snuck out. And to his surprise, outside of the palace, there was old people. There was sick people. There was dying people. And he was very, very disturbed. He couldn't believe it. So he went back to the palace and had to figure out what to do. Now, here's the thing. What he could have done, what the easy solution would have been, he was a prince. He could have literally made a law and said, well, it is no longer legal for the lepers to leave their body parts in the park because it's ugly and I don't want to see it. But that's not what he did, is it? Because he didn't have any interest in living a lie. He didn't want to hide from the ugliness of the world. He wanted to understand the ugliness of the world, and so he left the palace and became the important figure that he became. Denver is in the same situation. This isn't about, how do I put it? The question is whether you want to hide poverty and force the poorest people in our community to hide underneath bridges and run from cops, or should we live the uncomfortable truth that our economy isn't perfect and poverty is part of it. Thanks.